Hello and welcome to the Phoenix 5 Info Show. I'm your host, Lieutenant Vince Lewis with the Phoenix Police Public Affairs Bureau. I want to welcome my co-host today, PIO Public Information Officer Ryan Cody. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me here. Obviously, this is a big day for
the
city of Phoenix.
Yeah, so recently the Department of Justice made contact with us and the public to let them know of the results of their investigation into the Phoenix Police Department. Let us know what that was and what came of it.
So it's been a long time coming. This investigation, as many of our listeners have probably know at this point, 34 months long. We're talking about almost 3 years. It's one of the longest pattern or practice investigations in the history of the Department of Justice. And essentially, what the Department of Justice is alleging is a pattern or practice of unconstitutional policing. In a nutshell, there are other intricacies involved in the report. It's a 126-page report, so I would encourage those who are listening to read it if they're so inclined to do so. And there are many examples, we're told, that are cited in it, but as we're sitting here and recording this right now, it's important to know we as a city have not had a chance to read the entire thing and, more importantly, digest the entire thing to know exactly what's being alleged. We've been able to read the conclusion and hear from Kristen Clark at the Department of Justice. But right now, we want to be able to take the adequate time to read this report and find out exactly what the best course of action for the city of Phoenix is moving forward. It took almost 3 years to do the investigation, so we're going to need a little bit of time to digest it as well.
A lot of work and time and effort went into not only the transparency on our behalf behind it, but then, of course, allowing the Department of Justice to go through their investigation. So those reports will be online. You can probably find them either on our social media or go to doj.gov.
Yeah, and also phoenix.gov/DOJ. We have many resources there for you to be able to see what has been done, the amount of transparency, all the things that we've shared with DOJ. So that's a great resource as well.
Perfect. And the city manager, Jeff Barton, and the Phoenix Police Interim Police Chief, Michael Sullivan, sat down with media to answer a few questions.
This was a day that we expected. I became city manager in October of 21. The DOJ arrived in August of 21. So I stepped into this job expecting that one day a report would be issued. What was in that report, I didn't know. But again, I can say that, again, we're not necessarily shocked given what they told us they were going to be looking at and the fact that they've been here for approximately 34 months. But again, we're willing to roll up our sleeves and work to implement solutions as we've continued to do to show that we're working towards continuous improvement to be the department that our police chief has spoken about since he shown up on scene, which is to be that self-correcting, self-assessing department.
What I can tell you is I'm really happy that we are at a point in time where we have this report. We've been talking about it. It's been nearly 3 years. And there's been a lot of anxiety internally within the department waiting for this report to come out. So now we can see it, we can touch it, we can dig into it and see if the improvements that we are making and have been making are in line with what the report's recommending, and work with DOJ and council and city manager's office on next steps. When I talk about self-assessing, self-correcting, I talk about that's what we should be striving for. Certainly oversight is good. Sunshine is good to the process to make sure that we build confidence in the community and build trust. So, I think I know it's something that departments can do. I built systems in the last department I was in to be able to self-assess and self-correct. But that also had oversight. So, to being able to report the progress that we're making and I think it's something that we can do and look forward to continuing to build those processes that are in process of being built right now.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people right now reviewing the report. You look at the report, you break it up into sections, you figure out what they've identified, you try to find those instances that they're referring to in our process. We then also compare that to the things that we've implemented since their findings. This report spans 2016 to 2022. And there's a lot of time that's happened after 2022 to where we're at now. The chief said it just earlier, we're almost through 24. So we need to evaluate the changes that we've already implemented to remedy some of those situations that they're pointing to. And then I think there is work on our behalf that we need to do. And that work is being able to document the processes that we've put in place, implementing measures to track that data.
I think it's always good if we can put ourselves in other people's shoes. and take a look at different perspectives, whether that be community members that feel that the police have not performed to the level that they should, or police officers that go out there every day and do incredibly difficult work in very challenging situations. And being able to look at both those perspectives, I think is good for this community overall. Women and men of the Phoenix Police Department have huge hearts, hearts for service, is what I've seen and been my experience. Are we perfect? No. Do we always perform at the level that we expect? No. This is a dynamic profession dealing with very challenging situations, but we have to get it right. We have to continue to work to get it right all the time. I would tell the citizens, we are out here to serve the residents and provide public safety, and that's what we're committed to. I've said throughout my career that the work that comes with advancing the police department, improving the police department, reforming the police department is not mutually exclusive from crime fighting. Matter of fact, they work good together. You build trust and community. I think that the Phoenix Police Department is on a good path, with what we're doing currently, and I think we'll continue to do it, and in collaboration with the entire city. The one thing that is refreshing with the city of Phoenix, it's not the police department on an island. We are part of a bigger collective. We make decisions collectively with our mayor, with our city council, with our city manager's office. And with that, we come up with much better solutions than I've seen in other cities that I've worked in.
The city process, it involves the policy direction from our mayor and council. My job is to implement that, as well as the chief on the end of the operations side of police. I think it'll be a collaborative process, but it won't just be limited to the bubble of City of Phoenix. It will also take the collaboration of our community to get input, to figure out where they want us to go and how they'd like us to get there. So I think all of that combined speaks to it being a very lengthy process.
I think we all want fair and equitable policing for our community. It's something that we're committed to. And I think it's something that DOJ wants as well. So I think we're aligned in, there's a lot of alignment between the Department of Justice and the city of Phoenix and where we want to go and how we figure out how we get there. That's going to be part of the process that's ongoing over the next several months.
I have 100% certainty that Chief Sullivan is the right person to get us to where we want to go. He was selected specifically because of his experience with consent decrees and implementing reform. He is also selected into this role because of his experience in policing. And I believe he's the right person for that job. I also have built my career on operational efficiencies and process improvement. And so I think the two of us together, along with our mayor and council, who have been very adamant about reform, I think we can get there. I'm 100% sure we can get there.
So we've been listening to comments from Interim Police Chief Michael Sullivan and City Manager Jeff Barton, PIO Ryan Cody. What were your impressions after having listened to those sound?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that I heard from all of that was that we need time to digest this report. It's a lengthy report, as we said earlier, 126 pages. And so it's going to take time not only to read that, but then also pull out the information that we need, the evidence that the Department of Justice says that they have as to why there is a pattern or practice of unconstitutional policing. And to know why this report is so long, a lot of that is to know the level of cooperation that the city of Phoenix has been engaged in during this entire investigation, almost 3 years long. We have welcomed the Department of Justice to 8 different site visits. They've been in Phoenix, where during that time they visited the academy. They've gone on ride-alongs, hundreds of hours of ride-alongs. They've interviewed more than 130 employees at the city of Phoenix, not just members of the police department, but also employees that work in the Office of Homeless Solutions and other entities within the city of Phoenix who were under investigation. We provided more than 22,000 body-worn camera videos, which is over 10,000 hours worth. And if you do the math, that's more than a calendar year worth of video that the Department of Justice has had a chance to review, and many other documents, over 179,000 documents that we were able to share. And that's something that the city of Phoenix is proud of. I mean, we had said from the very beginning that we welcome this insight, we welcome the investigation and we will cooperate. And that is exactly what the city of Phoenix has done in terms of providing all of that information. And so we believe that that will allow the Department of Justice to do a thorough investigation, and we are interested to see any insights that they can provide to allow the city to provide the best service possible.
Openness, collaboration, and transparency will lead the way as we go forward to work with our partners and the community on how to find these solutions. Where can our listeners go to get information on what the Phoenix Police Department has done thus far with the DOJ investigation?
Phoenix.gov/DOJ is a website that my hands are all over it as part of one of the things that I do as part of this position as senior PIO. And right there is where we're providing a lot of different information. So you can find even our response to DOJ that came out earlier in the week. The day that the report came out, we as a city sent a response to the DOJ, essentially saying some of the things that we've already said, that we're going to need some adequate time to look into it. And then also what the next steps in this process are.
So now that you mentioned it, Ryan, what are next steps?
Well, the next steps are going to be a collaborative process. We have a unique makeup of our city here, which is different than many other cities who would have been able to make a unilateral decision on what the next steps would be, whether it be the mayor or someone like that. We have a city manager form of government in Phoenix. And what that means is that the city manager, along with others in the city manager's office, the Phoenix Police Department, and maybe most importantly, our city council is going to have to get together, digest the report, decide what the next steps are. And this is not a decision that's going to be made by one individual. That's just not how it works in the city of Phoenix. And so everyone who I just mentioned has stake in this, and they are going to be reading this and digesting it, and we'll go from there. I mean, we mentioned that we did send a letter to the Department of Justice letting them know that, and they are aware of how our form of government works. And so it's unique, and that is how we'll figure this out moving forward. So I don't necessarily have a better answer about exactly what we're going to be doing because it's just too early. We're not there as we sit here today. That's something that's going to take quite some time. And so I want to stress to everybody listening that don't expect an answer to this tomorrow or the next day. It is being worked on, and it's not just behind the scenes. I mean, we expect public input on all this. It is our plan and our intention to go and do a roadshow where we will bring some of this information to members of our community in person. We will let you know about that via social media and otherwise. And so that's where we go from here. We want it to be collaborative, and we want it to be transparent, and it will be transparent. That is what our commitment is to you.
Perfect. And we'll go ahead and make that response letter available on our social media. So watch for that. And so watch closely, follow us on our social media, and pay attention to that DOJ page to find out what the next steps are. I want to thank Senior PIO Ryan Cody for joining me on the show.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And remember, you too can help fight crime in your community by sending tips to Silent Witness, potentially earn a cash reward. For those tips, when you help solve crimes, visit silentwitness.org or call 480-WITNESS. Follow us on all social media platforms. We are hiring. Go to joinphxpd.com. And remember, we're all in this together.